Life gives us a lot of choices, and many regret choices that change their lives over time. As Emma has a wonderful opportunity of living two choices, and getting to choose the one she feels is right for her. Will she choose correctly? In the opening scene of A Tale of Two Christmases, Emma successfully gets a model of a golf house to her office, after much struggle. She had spent all night working on it, in preparation for a presentation for their clients. Her co-worker and friend, Holly, commends the model, but points out that there's a lot of snow, despite the model being for a golf house in Miami. Emma anxiously tries to get rid of the snow, but gets frustrated when it doesn't come off. She comes up with a not-so-brilliant idea to blow it off with the automatic hand dryer in the washroom. On their way to the washroom, Emma is greeted by Max, who she has a crush on. She's entranced by his smile, and almost drops the model. But Holly saves it. They run off, and Max can't help but smile at her. Holly asks when she's going to talk to him instead of exchanging pleasantries, but Emma brushes it off. In the washroom, Holly suggests that they redo the model, but there's not much time left. They use the hand dryer, and it destroys the model. Quite a disaster. Emma gets stressed, because it's almost time for the presentation. They take the model back to the office to try repairing the damage. Just then, Mr. Heaton, Emma's boss, walks in to ask for the model, and she tells him that the model is not ready. The situation is awkward, and Holly makes up an excuse to leave, despite Emma's silent pleas that she stay with her. Emma pleads for more time till the next morning, but he disagrees, since the next day is Christmas Eve. But he hides his disappointment, since he loves the concept of her model, and wishes her a lovely Christmas. In the next scene, Emma is on a video call with her dad, who asks how the presentation went. She lies that it went well. She spots someone behind her dad, and it turns out to be Drew, a family friend who's helping them set up Christmas lights. Her father gives Drew the phone, and they catch up. He confesses that he referred her to someone who's looking for an architect. Emma is thankful, but thinks that Vermont is far from Chicago. The topic changes when her father interrupts to mention that Drew is making his Yule logs this Christmas. Meanwhile, Max is leaving work, and is about to get on the elevator behind Emma, who doesn't notice his presence. Emma ends the call and gets in the elevator with Max. They get to the lobby, and Emma turns back suddenly, causing her to bump into Max. She apologizes. She introduces herself to him, but he already knows where she works, and the fact that she's an architect. He compliments her model, and tells her that his mother was an architect, and that he admires the profession. Emma knowingly asks if he's an attorney, and Max, in turn, introduces himself, informing her that he's a partner at his law agency. Emma finds out that he majored in environmental law, and believes that it's altruistic. They wish each other happy holidays. But while Max starts to leave, he decides to invite Emma to a Christmas Eve party he's hosting. But she sadly has to turn him down, since she's flying home the next day. In the next scene, Emma sees a Santa Claus cosplayer, and puts some money into his bowl. He appreciates her, and asks what she wants for Christmas. She's unsure, but mentions that she wants things to work, at least once in her life. He comforts her and wishes her a Merry Christmas before she goes into her apartment building. In her apartment, Emma can't stop gushing about Max to Holly, and how he's everything she wants in a man. She even mentions that he asked her out, but the excitement fades when she remembers that she can't go. Holly suggests that she skip her family's party, but Emma refuses, lamenting about the fact that she didn't land the project. All she wants is to spend the holiday with Holly, relaxing under the sun with nothing to stress them. But Holly doesn't feel the same way, because she doesn't want to get sunburned. Well, priorities don't always align, do they? Emma remembers the gift she got for Holly, and it turns out to be a beach hat to protect her from the sun. Seems she really means the sunbathing, after all. Later that evening, Emma looks at her flight ticket and sighs in frustration, wishing she didn't have to go home. She sets her alarm to 10:30 and goes to bed. Meanwhile, the cosplayer is still outside, pacing in front of Emma's apartment building. He rings the bell he's holding, and Emma's alarm changes to noon. Quite strange. Seems this is no ordinary cosplayer after all. Let's see how this unfolds. The next day, Emma wakes up late and rushes to the airport. She has to walk to the airport when the taxi she boards gets stuck in traffic. On getting to the airport, a man's luggage falls in front of her, and he apologizes. Then we get to see a projection of two different choices Emma has. Simply to say, Emma starts living in two realities. In the first reality, she helps the man, even though she's rushing, and on getting to the counter, she's 10 seconds late and misses her flight. But she doesn't have an opportunity to be sad, as she gets to do another model, since the clients didn't like the one that her boss Mr. Heaton presented. However, in the second reality, Emma apologizes, but doesn't help the man with his luggage. She gets on the flight at the last minute, and is picked up by Drew at the airport. The car ride home is nice, as she and Drew have a lovely and comfortable chat. Drew's question about work reminds her of her missed call, and she's annoyed and unhappy when finds out that she could have redone her project, but can't make it anymore, as she's already at home. Drew tries to encourage her by saying it's a sign that she needs to enjoy her holidays, but to his disappointment, it doesn't change her mood. Back in the first reality, Emma calls home and informs them of the unfortunate news. Her parents are not so happy about this, but still, they tell her not to stress too much when she informs them that she'll be home for Christmas dinner, since she rebooked her flight. Drew comes in, and when he finds out that Emma can't make it, he is disappointed, but plays it off jokingly. Emma's parents invite Drew and his parents for Christmas dinner. She goes back to her office and sees Max, who offers her a Christmas mocha. He's surprised that she's in the office and laughs at her rookie mistake after finding out she missed her flight due to waking up late. Emma is happy that Max recalls his previous offer for dinner and gladly accepts it. In her second reality, Emma arrives home with Drew, and her parents hug her, happy to finally see their daughter. They notice Emma's disheveled look, with candy stuck in her hair and pizza stain on her coat, courtesy of a little girl at the airport. She's shocked about the pizza stain, since she just found out, and hits Drew, who didn't say anything because he didn't want to ruin her mood. She goes with her mom, who wants to clean her up, while Drew goes out with her father for yet another job. As Emma's mom tries to get the candy out of her hair, she pries about her relationship with Drew, but Emma doesn't feel like anything will happen between them. Her mom doesn't feel the same, as she just smiles a knowing smile and cuts off the candy from Emma's hair. In Emma's first reality, Max walks into Emma's office as she's doing the finishing touches on her project. She notices that something is wrong with Max, and he informs her of his Christmas dilemma. His caterer canceled at the last minute. Emma feels sorry for him and offers him a seat. When she hears of his plans, she chips in her ideas and admits that she plans her parents' Christmas with them. Max gets interested and asks her to help him, and she's excited that she gets to go to the Christmas market with him. Meanwhile, in Emma's second reality, she shows her new hairstyle to Drew, expecting him to make fun of her. Drew, on the contrary, thinks she looks cute, but can't help but tease her as the conversation goes on. Emma teases him about always changing to the will of his girlfriends, but he defends himself, proud that he's open-minded, as it landed him the position of manager at the ski lodge. Emma's parents interrupt their banter. Her dad sends Drew to the lodge to get salt for the driveway, and her mom sends her with him to try to matchmake them. Even though Emma tries to pull herself out of it, her mom pretends not to understand, giving her solutions to her protestations. Back in the first reality, Max is in the Christmas market with the very excited Emma. She's happy that things have been going smoothly with them, and that they're on an outing together, but Max firmly states that they're on a date, not an outing, as he finally got the guts to ask her out. On their date, she finds out that Max is more of a practical person than a homey person. Emma gets a message from Drew, interrupting her time with Max. After answering Drew, she spends a nice time shopping for the party with Max. In the second reality, Drew and Emma get to their destination, and Drew compliments her new dressing style jokingly. Emma laughs at him when he runs into a lamp at the front of the lodge. Entering inside, the beauty of the place takes away Emma's breath, and she meets her longtime friend Gordon, who teases her about her Christmassy clip like Drew did, and they catch up while Drew goes to get the salt. In the first reality, Max and Emma are still at the Christmas market, as they get to know each other more. Seeing the gingerbread structures takes Emma back, as she speaks of how her father has had a great impact on her choice in architecture, as they made huge gingerbread projects together for Christmas. Max wonders if she feels a lot of pressure from her father, but Emma just wants to make him proud and not disappoint him. Emma convinces Max to get one for his party, and even though he's skeptical at first, he gives in when she insists. Max offers to take her home, but Emma wants to get something for her family. Max is grateful when she promises to turn up for the decoration. Back in the second reality, Emma looks at her hair in the mirror, after removing the Christmas pin as it gave Gordon and Drew room to tease her. Drew meets her at the mirror, giving her a normal clip, which relieves her. He always appears to know how to satisfy her needs. Emma congratulates Drew for the work he's found, but he just brushes it off, as he's doing what he loves. However, Emma is proud, since it was because of her that he joined his current line of work. They meet one of Drew's colleagues, Sarah. Emma doesn't feel comfortable as Drew and Sarah converse. She chips into their conversation, inviting Sarah for Christmas Eve at her house. Back at the house, Drew has trouble getting out of his sweater, and Emma helps him. Apparently, he is trying to look as professional as possible for the manager job, as per Sarah's advice, and even tries to put on a tie, but Emma lets him know that it's not about the look. She tactically finds out if he's dating Sarah, and is somewhat relieved to find out that they're just friends. Emma admits that Drew looks nice when he puts on a clip. She even lets him know that girls will love it, and he brushes it off, because he believes that love is hard to find in smaller towns. Emma assures him that love is also not easy in a big city. Back in her first reality, Emma gets a call from Holly as she searches for the perfect dress for the party at Max's house. Holly, who's surprised that she missed her flight, is happy for Emma, who finally gets to date her crush. However, Holly is worried that Emma might fall over in the heels she plans to wear, but doesn't push it, because Emma is so happy that she feels like everything was meant to happen this way. At Max's house, Emma is in awe of the interior when he opens the door, while Max is entranced by her appearance. He takes her coat, complimenting her. They unwrap the gingerbread house together and are happy with the results. When Emma asks about his family, she finds out that Max's life is very different from hers in that aspect, as he mostly spends the holidays with his friends on a ski trip, since his mom has passed on, and his father has a tradition with his friends too. Max longs for what she has, but is already used to his life. The doorbell goes off, interrupting their time. Max isn't too happy to find out that a real Christmas tree has been brought to his house, and Emma is embarrassed, as she ordered one, even though there was a mix-up. Max accepts it though, relieving the tension after remembering his old family Christmas decorations. Back in the second reality, Drew and Emma order drinks from Mrs. Roberts, who's happy to see Emma again, and Drew finds out that Emma's tastes have changed since they were 15. Apparently, he still remembers even the little details about her. Emma is happy that Mrs. Roberts is finally taking the step of renovating her lodge after the demise of her husband, but feels pressured when Mrs. Roberts suggests she do it. She tries to pull out of it again, but Mrs. Roberts gives her time to think about it. Meanwhile, in the first reality, Emma and Max are enjoying a glass of wine together after finishing with the decorations, but Emma still feels uncomfortable. She is relieved to later find out that Max is not mad about the tree. They find out that the mistletoe was left out of the decoration, and they hang it together. Max helps Emma, who almost falls down, and as they look at each other, the chemistry increases between them. They are about to kiss when the doorbell, unfortunately, interrupts them. Back in the second reality, Emma is with her parents while Drew is salting the driveway. Her parents praise Drew's hardworking personality. She informs them about Mrs. Roberts' offer, and truthfully explains that she's busy and might not be able to do it. When her dad surely believes that she'll get the Miami project, she feels guilty that her work was not able to even be shown to the clients, but doesn't say a thing. The doorbell rings, and the first guests for the dinner arrive. Her parents welcome Drew and his mom, and Sarah comes in from behind them. Emma feels insecure when she sees Sarah, and walks depressed to the kitchen. Even though Drew assured her that they are just friends, she can't just seem to vibe right with her. Back at Max's place, Emma gets acquainted with his friends, Sheris and Will. They are both surprised at how the decorations look festive, and understand better when Max introduces Emma. Emma and Sheris get talking, and they discover that they share some similarities, especially when Sheris mentions that achieving goals is the most important. In the second reality, the Christmas dinner is in full bloom, but Emma isn't enjoying herself, as she's distracted by Drew and Sarah talking. Her mom notices this. When she's asked to dress like an elf as usual for the kids, she carefully declines to wear the dress, and instead compromises by wearing only the hat, still feeling insecure. Back in the first reality, Emma is taking shots of the gingerbread house when Max walks up to her. She feels nostalgic, remembering home as she looks at the gingerbread house, and Max invites her for his ski trip. Emma has to decline the offer, as she has a flight to catch the next day. The party continues, and it's time for charades, but Emma gets a call from Drew back at home. She is being missed terribly by everyone, and when Drew is finally able to confess his feelings to Emma, he's interrupted by Max, who apologizes for stealing Emma away. Drew is quite disappointed. Meanwhile, in the second reality, Mrs. Roberts arrives at the party. Emma tries to make her understand that she's busy when she brings up the renovation again, but Mrs. Roberts won't give up. Drew has to leave the party to fix some things at the lodge, and Emma's mom decides to send her to check up on her Aunt Martha, who can't make it to the party. Emma tries to get out of it again, but later goes with Drew. In the next scene, Emma wonders why Drew is so good to her family, but it's because they're all so nice. Drew misses how close their houses were, and especially being near to her. Even though she's jealous, Emma mentions that he has Sarah, but Drew asserts that she isn't his type, making Emma blush. Back in the first reality, Emma gets a call from her boss, Mr. Heaton, who informs her that her work was accepted. Emma is happy, but her happiness is cut short when she discovers that she can't go to Miami for the job. She goes to the counter where Max and Sheris are, and Sheris, noticing her expression, knows that some things are off. Emma wishes that she'd have been more involved in field work, and Max gives her hot cocoa to make her feel better. Feeling restless, Emma goes to work on the cake, but trips on her heels, and the cake accidentally stains Sheris's dress. Emma panics and tries to use a tissue to clean off the cake, but it only makes matters worse. Sheris tries to assure her that it's all right, but Emma still feels bad. Will goes with Sheris to help her clean up, and Max and Emma are alone. She feels bad and apologizes for ruining his party, but Max doesn't feel like she did. Feeling out of place and guilty, Emma decides to leave, and even though Max doesn't want her to, he helps her get her coat. Back in the second reality, Emma and Drew are still in the car, staring at the lodge house and remembering old times. Drew wonders if she's doing all right in the city, even though she misses home, and Emma claims she is trying to convince herself in the process. She wonders why he hasn't left home, and Drew feels like this is where his family is. But the only thing missing in Drew's life is Emma. She's shocked to find out that he has liked her since they were young, and wonders why he never told her. But it's because the circumstances weren't in favor of Drew, and life moved on until they found themselves here. Remembering that they're there to fix the lights, they enter the lodge, and Drew fixes the lights with her help. Emma initially feels like the lodge doesn't need many renovations, but her mind thinks differently as she starts spewing out different ways to make it better. Mesmerized by her brains, Drew wants her to take the job, but only if she's ready to stay at home. The mood changes, and they are about to kiss, but are interrupted by Gordon. Noticing what was happening after getting a look from Drew, Gordon runs off, leaving a laughing Emma and Drew behind. They rush to Aunt Martha's house to give her pudding as soon as they remember, but Aunt Martha doesn't remember them, thinking that they're with the Carrolls and forcing them to sing. Drew gets his guitar from his truck and has fun singing to her as Emma dances her way through, sneakily handing her the pudding, but Aunt Martha isn't pleased. They run to Drew's truck, laughing, knowing that they sang rubbish. Back in the first reality, Max hands Emma her coat after having spent a good time with her. He reminds her about his ski trip, as he wants her to be there, telling her to think about it, and she agrees. Realizing that they're under a mistletoe, they kiss, not wanting to waste the opportunity. In the second reality, Emma and Drew are back at the house. As they enter the house, Sarah finds Drew, and they talk about vegan food and things that Emma knows Drew doesn't like. They walk to a part of the house where they can have privacy, and Emma reprimands Drew for always changing so that he can get in favor of people. However, Drew believes that his way of changing has brought him to where he is in his life. He angrily informs her that she's the one who changed, as she is trying to be a fancy version of herself, which she's not. Drew is disappointed and tired of waiting for her to see him, and walks out. Emma is dumbfounded and tries to call him back when she realizes that he's leaving. In her room, Emma is staring into space when her dad walks in to check up on her. She confides in him, feeling like she's always had an expectation of everything and everyone, but things always fall through. Her dad encourages her and also advises her that she should learn to take on what life brings for her, adjust, and build the best she can out of what it gives her. Emma confesses that she just wants to make him proud of her. But her father, feeling that she needs to understand what he truly wants, assures her that it's her happiness that matters the most, and not just making him proud. Back in the first reality, Emma has gotten to her home, and the Santa cosplayer meets her, asking if she has found everything she wants, but she's still unsure. The next day, Emma wakes up to her alarm at 6. But it's quite funny that it's still December 24th, and a message from Drew confirms that it was all a dream. Emma takes a taxi and gives him a very generous tip when he drops her at the airport. She meets Max there and informs him that she's going home. When Max tries to set another date with her, she declines, finally understanding what she wants and where she needs to be. Understanding her decision, Max has no hard feelings and bids her a Merry Christmas with her family. On her way to the plane, after checking in, she calls Mrs. Roberts, as she wants to discuss the renovation. Emma meets her dad when she lands, and he's happy to see her safe and sound, even after a delayed flight. In the car, Emma informs her dad about the project for Mrs. Roberts and her decision to resign. Her father is shocked, but is happy for her when she explains her reasons. He is even proud that she wants him to be her partner. He drops her off at the lodge where Drew is. Drew is happy to see her, and Emma suggests they jiggle the lights, just like in her dream, and it surprisingly works. The atmosphere changes, becoming intense as Emma confesses her feelings to Drew, after realizing that it had always been him, after almost spending a day with someone else. Drew is shocked that she has had a crush on him, and he confesses that he also realized the previous day that she was his reason for always working hard for her family. They share a passionate kiss, even though it feels kind of weird at first. Drew is happy for Emma when she informs him about her plans to partner with her dad. He hits his head as they try to enter the lodge, making Emma laugh. In the end, it takes living two realities for Emma to know what she wants.